Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dan Streech. I'm coming to you from in the Dana Point Harbor, right in front of the Dana Point Yacht Club. I'm aboard a beautiful, beautiful Nordhavn 68, hull number 29, called Floating Stones. And I'm with Angie Burke and Dave Johnston, the owners of the boat, who've been the owners just about 1 year now. I met Dave and Angie in our Dana Point office in January of 22 as they were beginning their search for a Nordhavn or something, but as it turned out, it was a Nordhavn. So we're going to interview them now today. They're a lovely couple. They represent exactly what we like to see in the evolution and growth of the Nordhavn experience that people have. Yep. So Angie and Dave, let me get the ball rolling here with a question, and a big question that I'm sure the viewers are very curious about. It's the two of you and the pooch on board the boat here. It's a big boat. How are you doing with the boat? What's your boating background that led you to a Nordhavn and to a Nordhavn 68, which some people might say is on the the upper limit of size, and coming with no big boat experience, and you took delivery of the boat in Mexico. You checked.
Yeah, could we add any more?
Yeah, you
factors?
checked just about every box of challenge that people might envision exists. So please tell us how this all came to happen.
Wow. So I grew up boating in the inland lakes of Michigan and had a little bit of Great Lakes experience. And then fast forward 20 some years and ended up in South Florida. And Angie and I got together, and our first boat was a center console fishing boat. And we graduated into an Intrepid, another center console fishing boat, 32. And we had that for, 10 or 11 years. Wow. And we decided that at some point in time, we really wanted to live aboard a boat. We didn't know if it would be full-time, but we wanted to be extensively cruising throughout the Bahamas and the Caribbean. And we looked at various boats that were capable of that and had the right range and had the right accommodations. And COVID hit. And so maybe, Angie, pick up the story and how we ended up with a Nordhavn.
Well, we both traveled extensively for work, and when COVID hit, we were locked down, like everyone around the world. And we started watching a lot of videos and came across the Nordhavn Film Festival videos. The first form. The first. Yes. The first.
Which I might interject that you, Angie, became a judge in the second one. So
it's a great evolution.
you moved up the ladder quite quickly.
It was meant to be. Well, we watched those videos and we kind of looked at each other and we thought our plan was to boat kind of from South Florida to the Caribbean. And as we were locked down, we thought we're going to feel pretty constrained pretty quickly if that's as far as we can get. We need a boat with more range. And as we started watching the Nordhavn videos, we got a sense of what the boats could handle and where they could take us. And that really opened up the door to us changing our plan, which is always to live aboard, but instead of in the confined area around the Caribbean, we decided to live aboard and go explore the world for at least a decade. So that kind of became the plan.
Angie and Dave, I've been in this business for so many years, and over the years, the boats have gotten a lot more complicated. They've gotten a lot more wonderful in terms of creature comforts and so forth. But air conditioning, water makers, all the navigation, all of the systems, toilets and water makers and so forth. And so I'm asked frequently by people, how big a boat can I handle? And it doesn't have a clear answer because it's different for different people. But by any judgment, a modern Nordhavn 68 is pretty much on the upper end. And the two of you jumped into it, not coming up through the Nordhavn ranks as others have. Right. And how do you feel about that? What's been your experience about that? Were you nervous? Were you intimidated? And which tasks do each of you take care of on the boat? Did you have any doubts? Did you consider hiring a captain? What would you mean? You're speaking to thousands of people with this video who are going to be interested in the answer to this. How did it feel for you during this year you've been aboard the boat?
Yeah, so we looked at a range of boats from the 57 up to the 75.
Yeah.
And when we looked at those, really they all have pretty complex systems. So that wasn't a major challenge. We knew that we would have a huge learning curve. And I like the mechanical and electrical and HVAC and the complexity of that.
Yeah, our friends call him MacGyver.
Yeah.
So he knows enough to fix just about anything, yeah.
So I knew that, I could get up to speed on that. I wasn't intimidated by it. And that regardless of the size of boats, in order to do the types of cruising that these boats are capable of, they're going to have complex systems. So we said, what makes sense from the right size and ensuring that we're able to accomplish our goal, which was to have friends and family experience and go on this journey with us. So what boat would be capable, what size would be capable of allowing us to bring them along? And so that was the major consideration. And then also just finding boats that were available. I think we looked at sort of the height of the market. And we started to narrow down whether we were going to build a new boat and the length of time that would take versus boats that would be available on the market and where were those currently located and where complexity of COVID, et cetera.
Right. I'll just add, I was a little nervous in the beginning as we started to look about the size of a boat. And when we went to the open house, we got on the 75, which was Pinch Me, it's now Rhino. And Dave and I got on, crawled in and out of every hatch. And I looked at him and I'm like, we're in trouble because I feel like we could do this boat. Yeah. And that was it. That for us felt like, okay, we knew.
That set your outer range.
It did,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Mm-hmm. And even today, after a year on this boat, we said we could probably do the 76 as owner-operator couple. We wouldn't want to go any bigger, but this has worked beautifully.
Yeah. But once you become an owner, even if you have the background necessary, you need to know the systems that are specific to that boat. So we did leverage a training captain for the first week that we took possession of the boat, and we just soaked it all in, and we videotaped everything that was described to us and all of that training, and we referenced that continually. And so another thing that's helped is we had incredible records. I think a lot of Nordhavns come with this maintenance records and a lot of spare inventory and everything else. And so that gave us the confidence that we could go out there with that background, that history, and with that access to that training captain to go be successful as cruisers.
Yeah, and access to the NOG, the owners group, right, has been phenomenal because every day we wake up, we check the emails, we see what issues or challenges or questions and conversations are happening among the owners group. And we've gotten on a couple times and said, can anyone identify this part or this filter? And it's been great. People are so generous with their knowledge. And I think that's been a huge, huge part of helping us learn and become more confident.
I was on the Nordhavn Dreamers Forum for at least 2 years and really got comfortable with interacting with others who were current dreamers and actually transitioned into owners, and what are their experiences, and really there's a lot of great information there. So I'd recommend that if this is something that interests you, actually get out there onto the Dreamers Forum as well.
Yeah, Angie and Dave, I had not seen this boat until today, and it is gorgeous. It is drop dead gorgeous. We would put this thing in a boat show in a second and call it a new boat. And so I've known some of the history of the boat. It's had 2 good owners before you. I was actually surprised at the number of hours on the boat, which I think we'll take that as a bragging point that it can have this many miles, this many hours on it, and still look look brand new, frankly. What are your hours, your generator and engine hours?
Main engine, 5,400 hours. Whoa. And on the small generator, 21.5 kW, has just over 8,000 hours.
Yeah.
And then on the larger, it's a 27.5 kW generator. It has just over 3,000 hours.
Yeah. Well, it's really good stuff. And as we talked off camera before, you won't be the last owner of this boat. There'll be more after you.
Sure.
And the eventually the generators will wear out and certain things will wear out. But the bones of these boats just go on and on and on. the viewers no doubt are going to be curious about your ages.
Yeah.
You're obviously younger. We don't know yet. I'm going to ask you in a moment.
Yeah.
I guess I can ask a lady, I think.
Yeah, you can.
Over the years, we traditionally have seen people come to their Nordhavns later in life, from retirement or making money in however they made it, or selling their house, kids gone, whatever. You're younger. You have made money. Obviously you own a $3.5 million boat, so you've done well. You've walked away from that at the prime of life to follow this adventure at a time when no doubt you probably could have made that much money again or a lot more.
Yeah.
And so how do you feel about that? Are you okay with that? Do you think about that? Is it worth it?
We do think about it, and it's been part of our long-term plan. So to answer your first question, I'm 51.
52.
And Dave's 52. And our plan over the last 15 years was at the age of 50, we were going to step away and step out of corporate life and jobs that we loved that took us around the world, and get on a boat and start that next adventure. We know you have to be physically able to do this sort of living aboard. We're active. We both have family who wants to come and be part of that journey. We want that as well. And while everyone is able to do that, we decided that our plan would be at 50 to get on a boat. Dave does remind me that we no longer have money coming in. It only goes out. But it's a lot harder to spend money on stuff when you're living on a boat and traveling around the world. We spend money on the boat. But that has been part of the story and the plan as we've kind of spent the last year.
We've just started with Mexico, and we did the Sea of Cortez, and we spent
scratched
months
the
there, and we
surface.
did some mainland,
Yeah.
and then now we're headed to Alaska, and we think that we may even spend another summer in Alaska beyond this coming summer. And then we'll probably need to do Central and South America. And we're saying, oh my gosh, that could be 5 years, and we're not even left the West Coast.
Right.
So we're a little bit concerned about that 10-year window, but not really, because that just means we're doing exactly what we had planned.
Right.
It's just going to take longer. As long as we have good health, we'll continue.
Yeah.
So, guys, here's another question. We, being in the business that we are building and selling these boats, we see so many people who've had a dream. It's a little bit fuzzy in their minds. They don't know quite what their dream is, but it involves a boat, and they tend to be maybe overwhelmed. There's so much that you don't know, and oftentimes there's so much that you don't know even after you've bought the boat. You have to make commitments and decisions before you can be fully educated, and so there is a confusion. There's a nervousness. There's a state of mind that even the best intentioned people have as they're trying to approach this. I mean, you probably paid more for this boat than you did your house, and so you're making one of the biggest decisions in your life. You're changing your life. Did those feelings affect you? And if they did, how did you work through them? What would be your recommendation to the folks watching this video?
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe we're not unique, but it might sound unique if you're not a boater. So we had not been away from a dock on a Nordhavn prior to purchasing the boat. So the first time that we were underway was on this boat during the sea trial.
Sea trial, yeah.
And that was great. It confirmed everything for us, but at the same time, it's a little unsettling that it's hard to get that experience on an actual Nordhavn. And I don't think it might be unique to Nordhavns. There's so few of them out there, but we really hadn't been on a boat of this size previously. So I think that you need to prepare a bit if it's something you want to do, and proactively put yourself in a position to get that experience.
Right.
I did go out and get my captain's license, That was one of the things I thought was going to be helpful.
Even though the magnitude of what we've done sounds big, we're going through it every day, kind of step by step, and it's not overwhelming. We've got lots of tools, lots of resources that kind of help guide us along the way. And as long as you remember to take a deep breath, things work out somehow. So that's been really good. And just knowing the community out there is willing to step up and step in as needed.
So Angie, this question is directed to you.
Yeah.
As many people know, if they follow the film festival, you were a judge in the film festival.
Yeah.
And a star player there, along with Kate Humphreys and James Lenthal and Dave Abrams. Really beautiful team that gelled well. I think did a great job with the judging. And I wanted you, I mean, it's pretty early in your Nordhavn career that you came up to do that. And so I'm just curious what caused you to put your hand up to do that, how the experience was for you, the friendships you formed, the night of the event itself, and then what you've carried with you after that.
After that? Well, I think when the call for judges came out, it must have been in March, and we were under contract on this boat. Official purchase date was April 1st, April Fool's. But in March, the call for judges came out, and Dave said, you should apply. Your corporate career was writing, editing, video, TED Talks. He's like, you're a great fit. And I thought it would be a terrific way to get into the Nordhavn community. At least meet people. We knew we wouldn't be videotaping anything. We technically weren't even Nordhavn owners when I sent my application in. But it ended up being a fantastic way to meet people. Plus, knowing that we were going to take possession of the boat in Mexico in April, it gave us, particularly me, a date and a destination for being in Dana Point. And we really had no schedule when we got on the boat, but knowing that we could look forward to that October 12th, I think, date, was exciting, and was exciting to think, okay, we were coming to the headquarters as Nordhavn owners. So that was really cool, and it was great when I found out, I think it was in the summer, that I made the judging panel, and all of us judges got connected on Zoom. We have Starlink, and that was a real game changer for us in terms of being able to communicate while we were in the Sea of Cortez. So we would get on Zoom and review the videos and have great debates, and we formed really strong friendships.
Well, Angie and Dave, I think we'll bring this to a close now. I suspect we could probably talk another hour about all things cruising, all things Nordhavn, and I suspect our viewers would probably watch it for another hour too. But we've all got things to do. With that, I want to thank you two very much for your business, for making us look good, for inspiring others, and just brightening the day of people that you come in contact with. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, Dan. Yeah. We appreciate the generous knowledge and the open door from Nordhavn.
Yeah, beautiful stuff.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, goodbye all.